Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Today's guest is a powerhouse in the real estate world, a transformational leader, mentor, and voice of generational wealth and economic empowerment. With over 24 years of experience in real estate and finance, he is the CEO and principal broker of Province Realty Group here in Jacksonville, a thriving boutique brokerage serving Florida and Georgia with 2 locations and a third on the way. She's a visionary founder of the She's Owning It Homebuyers Club, a national movement helping first-time and seasonal buyers build wealth through faith-forward education and strategy. Dana holds elite credentials, including a certified luxury home marketing specialist. And she brings the tech-integrated, people-first real estate solutions to every client she serves, from first-time home buyers to luxury investors. Her passion for community housing and financial literacy and mentoring others has made her a sought-after speaker, advocate, and change maker in the industry. Let's welcome the dynamic and inspiring Dana Johnson to the show.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm glad you came down this morning, and just our pre-show conversation, talking about some of the things that you're involved with. Hopefully this will give you a little bit of a platform, and maybe people don't realize what's out there, and then actually what you're involved with and doing, I think is just incredible. You were just telling me, and I'd like to share with the listeners. Tell us a little bit. You just graduated from the 1 million black woman. That's how you have 1 million black women, sponsored by Goldman Sachs.
Yes.
And it basically puts you through a self-employment business acumen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the program is the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women in Business, Black in Business program. And it is a business incubator. That incubator tracks the progress of women, and it takes us through a 10 to 14 week cohort. It's very intensive, and like we were talking about earlier, it basically allows black women to decipher where they are and actually fill the gaps and the holes and the voids in their business by way of the resources that are offered via the program. And I know we talked about it. Research showed that black women are trending upward for being the quickest demographic and the largest demographic to be business owners. And the thing that Goldman Sachs recognized and realized was that even with this trend, there was a severe lack of resources and capital that was being extended to black business owners, in particular female black business owners. However, our businesses were, most of our research shows that about 90% of black females who owned businesses owned them based on a social impact or a social cause, a social justice cause.
They saw a need in the community.
Yes.
And have gone after it.
In the community, and they said, okay, let me create a business to fit this need. And it was based on social impact.
That's an incredible opportunity. And if anyone listening right now, obviously reach out to Dana for details on it. I imagine during those weeks they brought in some influential key speakers.
We were exposed to a lot of stakeholders, a good amount of resources, and we were provided the opportunity to have business advisors. We had one-on-one business advisor meetings, and we dissected our financials and was able to build an action plan and a business plan of sorts. So within the next year, after graduation, we'll have our progress tracked and make sure that we are on trend to advance. And
it would be so interesting because you said there was about 300 women in this particular group that you were in.
Absolutely.
The different businesses that they were involved in. Because I imagine there was probably some people doing the training and involved, and there was probably some unique business ideas that were out there that people were working, that I imagine some of them probably got a second call, like, hey, we want to invest in what you're doing and expand it.
Absolutely. There were quite a few ladies that had the opportunity to pitch their ideas and go on and get contracts and major deals with
Yeah.
investors. Like there was one young lady in my cohort. She owns a marketing firm, and she was already successful. And they did divide our cohorts up based on revenue, so she was already wildly successful. But she was lacking. It was a glass ceiling that she'd hit. She
Yeah.
was lacking the sponsorship that she needed.
Yeah.
So she was able to. As a result of being in the program, she was able to sign a $500,000 contract
Wow.
with Crown Royal.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and go and be their marketer in Europe. So we were like, take me with you.
Exactly. That's
Yes,
incredible.
yes.
Because I imagine Goldman Sachs probably brought in some companies that would find us, or just people know people. They just, these are people, they're mixing and mingling, I'm sure, in New York.
Yes.
And they had coffee and said, yeah, we're looking for someone to run our PR program. And then they the next day they've got this person in front of you. They're going, wow, this person is on top of their things.
Yes.
But you brought up an interesting point. She reached her lid. I call
Yes.
it the lid, which real estate agents reach their lid. And they need some little extra, coaching, mentorship, whatever it is, to break through.
Yes.
And sometimes they know what they need to do. It's just like they just need someone to help them get that first step out the door to break through that lid that she was going. And I think I always use the analogy when talking about it. It's those people who win the lottery and then they're broke.
Yes.
2 years later, they have no money left
Like,
over
same.
because they don't have the savviness, the acumen to handle that kind of money.
Absolutely.
And obviously reaching out in something like this, but you're also involved in. You started this. I'm going to call it a group, for lack of better words. She's owning it, Homebuyers Club.
Absolutely.
You saw a need. You created this, and you said the Goldman Sachs course actually helped you improve this program. Tell us a little about that.
Did. So the She's Owning It Homebuyers Club is something that we'd been working on. And I say we, my team and we've been working on since October 2024. And my time with Goldman Sachs allowed me to refine the program and the offerings. And what the She's Owning It Homebuyers Club is it is a 10-module course built for women who want to purchase a home or leverage equity in homes that they already have or invest in properties, but they just don't know how. So there are some key components to real estate. It's who, what, when, where, how. That's everything, right?
Right.
So you know what you want to do. You know why you want to do it, but it's how. How can I get this done? That's always the question. So our course shows you how to build your wealth and close that wealth gap that is so prevalent and looming with females by leveraging real estate. And how we do that is, again, we go through a 10-step module, and it's geared towards first-time home buyers, people, again, who own their home and they just need to leverage the equity in some way in order to expand their portfolio. Or if you're an investor or want to invest, we show women how to leverage their investment and their money. We also take the holistic approach in this Homebuyers Club. We don't just say, okay, here's a home, it's good for you, and here's why. You're closed and don't hear from us anymore. What we do is we ensure that women know how to maintain their investment. They know how to approach it in a healthy and emotionally sound way. I'm going to say it. Women are emotional, and we make emotional purchases all
I think
the
people
time.
are. Depends on who you're with. I'm emotional. I
You're
wear my
emotional
emotions on my
too?
sleeve. Yeah.
Women are like, well, if you're emotional, we're like times 10. So we make emotional purchases all the time. So this club makes sure that we provide the data, the research, and the education so that people can make sound investment decisions. And we also do that through faith. We teach people how to fortify their faith and leverage that, because it is tough. we have so many distractions and so many, negative things coming at us on a daily.
Yeah, stresses of life.
Stressors,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we teach people how to hone in on those things that matter and just, you know, don't even worry about the distractions. Make the right decisions as far as your future is concerned and give them the opportunity and the education to do that.
I've had Daniela Otone on, Jessica Mendez. They're very involved in the Hispanic community, and they both talk about working that community that they're involved in really sometimes taking years with individuals who want to buy a home, but for whatever, whether they don't have the cash, they don't have the credit, both, all the, and get them on that journey.
Yes.
And I think that is so, obviously very forward thinking of what you do. Because I was watching someone, actually it was a friend of mine, John Jerkovich. He's up in Michigan, and we used to work together at Quicken Loans. And he was talking about, everyone is a customer. When do they enter your funnel, so to speak, right? Do they enter it at 18, 19 years old? We talk about everyone's familiar with Rocket and Quicken Loans. Their little apps they've got, like Quicken Money and so forth, that's entering those people into their sales funnel at an early age. They may be just in college and they're using that for whatever, but now they're being incubated. Yeah. The data's there. They know where they're at, how much money they're making, because a lot of them connect their bank accounts or whatever to this app. And this is one of many things that they do. Where bring that down to your level, our level here in Jacksonville, you see all these women in the Black community that they just need a little guidance.
Absolutely.
And eventually, hopefully, they obviously become clients of yours, and you help them with that real estate journey.
Absolutely. And not just the Black community, just in general, women in general. We have so many more things that connect us than separate us until I just see a lot of trends with women in general.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said with the other two agents and how they work their spear in their community, in their Hispanic community, and the age in which and the functions in which they purchase and the people in their community purchase, it reminded me of my own story. I was raised in the household with my grandparents. They owned their home. It was a brick house. And that's all I knew. That was my norm. So when I left their home at 19, my thought process was, I need to buy a house, because we were taught that you give your money away when you rent.
Right.
So nobody took me serious at 19. So I know I look 25, but this was before. This was before Google and internet. So I had pieces of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. It took me 4 years to purchase a home. I didn't have all of the components. I either had the money, not the credit. The money and the credit, not the down payment.
Right.
I just didn't have all of the components. So when I got the capacity, when I finally had the capacity to purchase due to the research that it took 4 years, I said, I did it. So at 23, I purchased my first home.
Which is well below the national average of the average age of someone who's buying their first home.
Right now, and the national average right now is trending between 34 and 36.
Wow.
And back then, it was much younger. It was right at about 25, 27. So I was a little younger than the average person, but it took me 4 years to figure it out. And when I purchased my home, people started asking me, how did you do it? And I started giving them this information for free, and I was working for the bank, actually. And someone at the bank said, you should do this. You're good at it.
Right.
And I thought about it, and I said, okay, I could be making money doing this. But I did, and I found my passion and purpose. But not only that, I told myself I was my worst client. If I find somebody that takes more than 4 years to purchase a home, I'm going to retire.
Right.
And it's been my passion and my purpose to make sure that it does not take people 4 years to purchase a home. When you meet me, I'm like, okay, I'm on you. We're gonna do it. I had someone come close,
Yeah.
but not
Well, I mean,
like
it's
yours.
sometimes you just don't, know people's lives, things happen.
Yeah,
They get setbacks, maybe they get laid
absolutely.
off, or that kind of thing.
But it's the incubator that matters,
Mhm.
and that's why we built this club. It's the community.
Yeah.
When you have that accountability partner and that person saying, "Hey, I've been there. I understand." It's not judgment. You know, you got a setback, but come back in 6 months. Come see me.
Yeah.
And if you don't come see me, I'm coming to look for you. It's the community that we're offering with the She's Owning It Homebuyers Club that most women need.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, we closed our first we
First
yes.
pupil.
Our first
We'll
pupil.
call it that.
Yes, we closed our first pupil, which just so happened to be my sister.
Okay.
And it took us about 2.5 years, and I saw the process, and I see these processes, and it's the psychology behind real estate, whether or not you're the buyer, the investor, the seller, or the realtor.
Right.
So it's
Well,
so important.
And it is so important. And like we were talking pre-show. I said we really need. Yeah, I think not just in the real estate industry, but all industries really need to pour into these. I think it's at the high school.
Yes.
You could talk college, but the amount of kids that go there and they're gone. Is every kid in high school is if you got 30 kids in the class, hopefully 3 or 4 their light bulb goes off is all we could really hope for, that they go, oh my goodness, I can do this at 18. I may not be on the college track. I could go do this type of work. Like, I forget what the number is. It's crazy. The demand for, welders, HVAC, carpenters, and so forth. You don't need a college education. You just need to start doing it.
Absolutely.
And start that journey. And then all of a sudden you have 4 or 5 years in, and you're now, have high credibility, and you're not even 25 yet.
Absolutely.
Those opportunities are out there in with as the older generation that is doing a lot of that work, that are really good at it.
Sunsetting.
And so there's this huge demand, and it's not like our population is going down. There's more houses being built, and so there's more AC units out there. There's more welders, whatever it is that you want to do. And I think as a community, every community needs to pour in and start educating these kids. Yes, they do need to know math and science, and they need to know their history. But I think we need to pour into them, that they need to kind of know what's out there.
Absolutely.
And really get them off to a better start. And I believe, I don't know how much you've dived into artificial intelligence, but the kids are using it.
Absolutely,
and asking it questions. And I think they have the ability to learn more faster than you and I did doing manual research. They have everything at their fingertips.
They have it at their fingertips, and the resources are different. And it's funny you would mention the age in which we should introduce the idea of not just owning a property early on, but getting into the service industry and possibly rendering those services, like being a loan officer, a realtor, electrician, HVAC technician. There is an association that I'm a part of. It's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and it's right here in Jacksonville. Our Jacksonville charter is the First Coast Association of Realtors, and one of our affiliates is the Young Realtors Division. And what that division does is that our group is a group of real estate and real estate industry professionals that believe in democracy and housing. Okay, so the Young Realtors Division has so many things to offer youngsters. Just this week, they took about 15 young high school age students on a tour of a community, and D.R. Horton community, and taught them all the things about what every trade,
every service that's going in there,
every service that goes into
building a house,
home, how it impacts you, your community, how you make money, and if you don't go to college, these are all of the jobs and functions that you can do. And this is about how much money you'll make doing it. Can you see yourself doing this? You can work outside, right? You can use your hands.
Well, that's not always a great thing.
Yeah,
Not these next few days. They say it's going to be really hot. But,
but you know, you don't have to be in a desk.
Right.
And you can incorporate technology in those things, right? The digital planning, all of that. So I'm glad that you said that, because there are different programs out there designed and geared towards educating young people on the services.
In way our growth is here in Florida, and I'm sure you come in with that trade, being able to obviously, coordinate these services, coming in, working, maybe you're a drywall, you're 18 years old and you learn how to drywall and you learn how to do it. And then you pick up on these. And next thing, by the time you're 25, you're running the entire operation, drywall, plumbing, everything, because the demand is so high.
Yeah. And now you could be the developer, contractor. You can open your own business. You can go run somebody else's.
Yep. If
the
you're good at it,
possibilities are
you
limitless.
will have more work than you can handle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happening now. And just like you said, in the services industry, the people who are in those industries trending down. So it definitely is a no-brainer now for the young people to become interested and embedded in those industries.
Now, you mentioned on the way in the RPAC, so you're involved. You're very involved with NEFAR.
Oh, honey,
and
let me talk.
You're deep into it.
Deep in it.
I want to. This is a subject I haven't talked about recently with anybody, but I think it's important before we go into your nuts and bolts of how you run your real estate office and so forth. The importance of getting involved. You obviously, based on everything we've already talked to, you're deeply involved in your community.
Yes.
You're involving it, and it sounds like through your church, although you didn't directly say that, but the sound from what you've basically told. But being involved in the real estate industry from the standpoint of what's going on, I think a lot of agents don't even think about some of the decisions that are made in Tallahassee, let alone Washington, that affect your business or could affect your business.
Absolutely.
And being in the know sometimes because you are involved. Tell us a little bit, where did you see the what gave you to say, hey, I want to be more involved, type of thing, and what are some of the things that you've gotten out of it, and obviously some of the things that you're obviously involved with at the local association here?
Well, number one, thank you for that segue, because a lot of agents, they don't recognize the resources that they have, especially if they're involved with their local association. So thank you for that. And the first question was, what are some of the things that I'm involved in as it relates to Northeast Florida Association of Realtors? And of course, if you are a realtor, that is our local association that offers MLS and other resources for realtors. If you're a buyer or seller, that is one of the tools and associations that agents use to be able to provide you the resources that you have and the accurate representation. That's number one. But if you are an agent, I would say it would behoove you to be involved in an association that you're paying for annually, right? There's education. I am the Education Advisory Task Force Chair. We have so many different offerings as it relates to increasing and enhancing and a local realtor's education and just thought process until it's not even funny. There are so many offerings. Like we have designations and different certifications. Those things will set you apart as an agent and make you the expert. So when you sit before a client and say, hey, hire me to list your home, and that client says, well, I've researched you against 2 other agents. You're number 3. Why should I hire you? You should hire me because I have my CRS designation, and only 3% of the agents in the nation have that designation. And this is what I've learned. And as a CRS designee, guess what? I'm going to represent you to the fullest because I had to have so many transactions and whatever the requirements are. So education is paramount, and a lot of that education does come from NEFAR. Another question you asked is, what are some of the things I'm involved in? Another thing I'm involved in is I'm the co-chair of RPAC. I'm so just taken back by the number of agents that don't know what RPAC is. And RPAC is, of course, the Realtor Party Action Committee. But it's a bipartisan.
Remind me after the show. I'm going to tell you something about RPAC,
Okay.
and I'll tell you something. Go ahead.
For realtors, it's important for you to give your fair share. That's that little box at the beginning of the year when you're renewing your dues to ask, do you want to give your fair share, your $20? And most people uncheck it. You want to check it because what RPAC does is it advocates for our rights, and not just for the rights of realtors to do business and get paid, but property rights as well. Hometown heroes. You know what that is, right? Hometown heroes as a real estate professional is paramount, and to our buyers, because it's a down payment assistance program that's funded by the state. Guess who was able to go to Tallahassee and advocate for funds
Exactly.
for buyers?
Yeah.
Realtors were by way of RPAC funds, but we need those funds, and we need.
I want to, because I think one of the areas this is where agents get, I think a majority of the agents, like you're talking about, uncheck that box.
Yeah, don't
and how that
uncheck
$20, this is the industry you're involved in. Laws, legislation, whatever are obviously primarily set in Tallahassee for the state of Florida.
Yeah,
And you need representation there.
especially now.
And if you're going to call a representative and say, hey, you know what, I don't like this. Can you look into it? Can we get this changed, or this needs to be done better or updated? Well, that costs money.
Yes.
It costs money for that person to go and do those things. They're trying to run their real estate business. And then they're also taking time to represent every real estate agent in the state of Florida and on their behalf. And, why, I realize obviously the agents are at different times in their lives right now, different schedules, different, income wise. So everyone should be doing at least $20. Those that are up there, your Jack's Real producer levels, they should be maxing out that RPAC donation, because isn't there a certain level and you're considered, you get a little extra recognition.
Yes.
Right. From that standpoint.
Yes.
But one of the things, and I don't know if you have any, the thought that gave me, and I think is important right now, that I think RPAC should be going after, because I do own some condos, is the whole, I don't know the time frame, but when the legislation came out that the condos needed to step up their game, and having these inspections.
Yes.
And I really believe a 3-story condo should not be involved in that. Those need to be brought to the high rises that what caused the issue. It was a high rise, which is a totally different structure than a 3-story garden community. And now, but the problem is, probably 90% of our condos in Florida are probably 3 stories or less. And now they're stuck under this, and now are having these extra costs, and kind of putting some of these condos, when it comes to lending, more difficult, because they don't have the budget to go and have these inspections and so forth done, or not getting them done in a timely manner, because now they got to, it's every 3 years they've got to have this update. They call it an appraisal, and then the insurance has got to match it. All the things that we're checking as a lender. Oh, did you have your appraisal? Okay, great. It says that's what. Okay, is the insurance matched? The replacement costs, right? And all these other 3-story condos should not be involved in that.
So Tracy, that's where involvement comes
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Not only can realtors contribute and be involved in the RPAC task force and committee, but so can affiliate members.
Well, we will talk about that.
can
We will talk about that after the post show. All right, let's talk about you. You said you bought your first home. Was it 23?
I was 23 years
23 years old. So
Yeah.
what is Dana doing at that time? What is she? What are you doing for work? And really, as a young person, 18 to 23, I mean, what did you envision yourself doing?
I envisioned myself being a fighter pilot and an astronaut.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I did not score high enough on the ASVAB. And the recruiter said, you didn't score high enough, you don't weigh enough, and you're not tall enough, so you don't fit the requirements. However, you would be great in IT. I've always been techie.
Yeah.
So even back then, in the like my son would call it the teens. in the 90s, I was always techie, and that was when IT was not sexy. It was DOS, a black and green screen. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
My first job out of high school was with Prudential in IT department. That was when we had to go in and do paper tests, right? So straight out of high school, I said, "Oh gosh, I'm in IT. I should have gone to the Air Force." I did that for about 3 years, and Aetna bought Prudential, and I needed a job. I was making good money. I didn't know I was making good money, but I was. So when we got downsized, I could not find another industry that paid me what I was used to making and what I was worth,
Right?
except mortgage. And I said, this is something completely different from what I'm used to doing, but I'll try it. So I got into the mortgage industry just because I was young and I was thinking about money. And the rest is history. It more from, okay, if I'm working for a mortgage company and I can, if I'm making this amount and I see my loan officers making 10 times that, I'm going to be a loan officer. So I did that.
Yeah.
Was a loan officer in St. Augustine. I saw how much the company was making of my own company. I said, I want to do that. And it just kept graduating from there. And then I saw I'm inside an office. I'm an outdoors person. I want to be outdoors.
You're in the early 2000s right now.
Early in 2000s now,
okay.
Right? 2000, right at about 2003. I said, I'm going to be a realtor. They make the same money I make, and they're free. They get to show houses. That's sexy. So I went in. But it's not. I found out earlier that it's not, but I became
not all the time. It can be a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not. It's work, but it was a gradual progression of I saw it and it appealed to me and I did it. I did not. It was not planned at all. Like I said, I wanted to be an astronaut and a fighter pilot. So this was not a part of the plan. But I can see where in my younger years I've always had an infatuation with houses. I can see how my life was orchestrated, and it was divine how everything just fell into place when I did what I was supposed to do, and I just followed the path I did.
Yeah.
I followed the path that I was being led on, and it morphed into me actually wanting to. I'm a serial giver. I have to help people, whether you need my help or not. I'm going to help.
Well, I think that's why you're a successful real estate agent and you run a team.
Yes.
If you're not, it's very difficult to do that.
Like, I'm going to help you, right?
Yeah.
I'm just one of those people, and it does satisfy my need to help and give back and do something that I love to do. And I've been doing it now for what year? Since 25? Oh, for 24 years.
Yeah.
But as a realtor, I've been a licensed realtor since 2006. That's right before the bottom dropped down.
Yeah.
So I'm used to strange things happening, right?
All right. So hold to 2006, but I want to just touch on something like you said, the giver.
Yes.
I think to be really, would you agree? To be really good in the real estate industry, whether it's on the mortgage side or you have to pour into people. You're out there showing houses. It's not like, hey, here's $50, show me this house. You're not getting paid until they close.
Absolutely.
And now, obviously, there's been times like 2020, as fast as you could show them a home, and if you help structure the offer really good, you could turn that round pretty quick. But that's not, you spend hours upon hours. I've often said I think agents should keep a notebook and actually track every time they talk to somebody, whether it's 8 o'clock at night saving a marriage sometimes, to hey, I'm on here searching for possible homes for this customer, and then when they actually put that down and actually show that to I think a lot of our citizens don't realize the time and effort and the stress.
Investment, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like an attorney. When you are represented by an attorney, they're going to charge you $130 an hour or whatever their fee is.
Yep.
And to the penny, they say, I did this for 5 minutes. I did that. And this is why you're
Exactly.
paying me. So that's a good tool in practice. But we do a lot, right? We know we do a lot. But yes, you have to, going back to what you said, your original thought, you have to be a giver. I kind of, I compare it to being a teacher. Like, if it's not something you love, you're not going to do it for long.
Right.
Like, people hop into it because we look at, you know, success stories and we say, oh, we can do that. Similar to what I did. But it definitely you have to come with a certain servant's heart.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're going to be in it for any length of time.
We get our high at the end, and when they say,
Yeah.
oh my God, thank you for helping me, through this process, where we think the process is very simple because we do it every day. To a lot of these people, they've got to throw a lot of faith in us and what we do, and and dive in and look at something. It might be a 3-hour interaction or a 3-month, or who knows, a 3-year if you're might be involved in helping them get to a level where they can buy a home.
Absolutely.
It's 2006.
Yeah.
You're starting to see the downturn.
Yeah.
How do you get through those next 3 or 4 years as a real estate agent? What are you doing?
Well, again, I didn't know what I didn't know. As far as being a realtor, that was my norm. So I was in a market, and I'm a creative. So I saw a challenge, and I said, "This is not going to beat me." I heard all of the negative thoughts, and I saw the negative actions of people, and I said, "Okay, how can we fix this?" One of the things I did was I made sure I educated myself. I wanted to know what did not work, what does work, and I found that education and consistency are key. You're not especially in a down market, you're not going to get quick results. You may not get quick results, right? But if you're consistent and if you're educated,
the flowers will come.
It comes. It really does.
Well, you bring up, I haven't talked to in the last few shows, but something I'm very passionate. I don't know if you ever read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. If you haven't read it,
I have not.
It's a good book, or listen to it in the Audible. But she talks about, she's studying grit and how some people can get through some tough times and others can't. Others might give up early. She was studying the West Point cadets as they go in as freshmen, and they got to go in obviously early because they're basically going through a boot camp before they start the fall. And why some make it through and some don't, and their backgrounds and all this other stuff. So grit is very important. And I was telling you earlier, I really want to compile all the, your 278 episodes, all the agents that I've had on, because I truly believe a real estate agent, if you have not demonstrated grit, if you have not had a moment where you felt like you fell on your face, or a client kicked you in the gut, or a deal just set you sideways, and to the point where you're like, why am I doing this? And question yourself, but then, obviously overcame, and you're still in the business, right? So I broke it down to this. I call it the LLC, and it's called Love, Laughter, Inconsistency. And you mentioned consistency, so we're going to get there in a moment. But why, and you just said, if you don't love it, you won't stick with it.
Yeah.
Tell us why you love real estate.
Oh my gosh, what's not to love about real estate? Number one, I love real estate because it increases wealth in families. It creates that stability that families need, right? And if you stabilize a family, you'll stabilize a community. If you stabilize a community, what's going to happen next? The world is going to be better. So I love being able to introduce families and people to the opportunity to be stable. That's number one. Not only are they introduced to stability, they're introduced to wealth. You now have a vehicle, a financial vehicle that can change the trajectory of you and your family's life. If you have a crisis, you own a home. Don't have a crisis as a renter. I've been there. You have about 30 days to figure it out, right? As a homeowner, you have a vehicle in which you can relax and say, okay, this happened to me, but I have a stable and sound investment in my home to where I can call mortgage professional and say, hey, I'm having a tough break, a tough go at it. What can I do? And you'll be able to say, we can refinance. I can help you do whatever, right? And protect not only your investment, but your stability. And once they come out of it, guess what? You have equity. And now you can leverage that equity to make investments. Like if you want to invest in crypto, AI.
There's a lot of equity that's paid for a lot of colleges.
College, right? Send your kid to college so that they can open that business or invest in their future. Give them a down payment on a home. You know, you can do that. What's not to love about real estate? It's a vehicle in which it stabilizes our community because we have property taxes. Property taxes right now in Florida, oh my gosh, we're collecting so much. We're collecting over the amount that's average because
well, that's another the RPAC thing between insurance and obviously we know DeSantis is working on the property tax thing.
But
the other
increases community.
I like and what you're really pointing at is you have a cause bigger than you.
It's so much bigger than me. I'm just a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And I introduce myself as a speck of dust with a shelf life. I'm only here for a little while, right? But these families that we're helping, you're helping generations that are going to be here after we're long gone, right? So that's what I love about real estate. I'm able to have a little piece of impact on somebody else's future and change the trajectory of so many lives in a positive way.
Yeah. All right. So the second L is laughter.
Oh my gosh.
I have to explain this a little bit because this is something. It's things that I think through my life in situations I've been in when been broke or what just been set back, right? And now, as I'm sure you've probably had a real estate transaction that really hit you sideways, questioned why you're even in real estate because of it, but now you laugh at it at a cocktail party. You tell people that story, or you tell the new agents that come in, oh my God, I had that happen to me once, and it really knocked me to my knees.
Yes.
Can you recall one of those situations that really just made you question yourself, and is real estate right for you for a moment, but then stepped out of it and overcame?
Yeah, I almost quit. And that was after having done it for, I think I was like in for 17 years at that point. In my head, I know what I'm doing, right? I had a client that I helped, and I was so happy that I was able to help her. I referred her over to a service person, insurance company, and I referred her over to a inspector. She started having problems with her property once she closed, and of course she called me, and I said, oh yeah, do this, do that. It didn't work out the way that she wanted it to, and she accused me of selling her the worst house ever. You knew this house, you referred me to this person, I didn't know what I was signing, da 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 da.
No.
You are horrible. Took the social media, and this was somebody that I knew, and it was
you were friends with her before?
I wouldn't say friends, but I definitely knew her. I've been in close proximity to her, and it was definitely somebody that I knew that I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And I was taken back by it, but I had to step out of my emotion and say, you know what? If it were me, and if I was in this same situation, how would I be feeling right now? So I had to remove myself and my feelings from the equation. And but it was a gut punch, and I said, oh my God, I don't even want to do this anymore. How could this person say this about me? Like, I would never do that, and I didn't even make that much money. Like, it's not even worth it,
Right.
Like, that's not worth my license, right?
Right.
But I thought about it. I said, Dana, that was the wrong thought process. Any money that you make is a blessing. That's number one. You were able to help somebody, and over time she was able to get it together and use her resources in order to make it right. But I laugh at it now because I said I was really going to quit. I was so serious about it. My team looked at me like, are you serious right now?
Let one transaction take you down.
You've been doing this for 17 years. years. Like, come on now, you know who you are.
Yeah.
I laugh about it now because I just don't know why I got so emotional about it.
Yeah.
But I'm able to laugh about it.
Yeah. All right. So the LLC is consistency. You mentioned it earlier. What are some things that, especially during, those first 4 or 5 years, like you said, you were working through a very unique market that a lot of agents, some agents probably, I know today, if you said short sale, they'd be like, what are you talking about? What's a short sale, right?
I just closed one last year.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. Let alone foreclosures and so forth.
Yes.
But you mentioned one of the keys to your success and in longevity in this business is consistency. What are some of the things that are in that sacred consistency category for you that you're doing, whether it's monthly, weekly, daily?
Daily, all day, I pray. That's number one. I don't tap into my own power. I definitely pray. And that's my form of medication and meditation. I make sure that I'm quieting myself and not allow myself to be distracted and overwhelmed by external stressors. I consistently pray. Secondly, I consistently look for ways to connect with my clients and with everybody. I don't market in a conventional and way like most people. I'm so organic. I love sitting down with people, learning who people are. I'm a researcher by nature. Some people call it nosy, but
you're a social media stalker. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't do that.
You don't go on to see what someone's life is and what they put on social media.
It's not real. I like to know. Social media, people share who they want you to see, but I love to.
Sometimes they show you too much.
That's so they get a check. At the end of the day for the likes. But I love learning who people are organically. So it's those relationships. I love nurturing my relationships, right? And I'm not looking for anything out of it. Really, I'm looking to see how can I help you. So I consistently look for ways that I can help someone, and if I can, that's great. If not, I got a friend. I gained a friend in the process,
right.
And in consistently doing that, I'm put in positions where people remember, hey, Dana, you're a realtor. You're so passionate about it. I call it my ministry of sorts. It's the only thing that I would do for free and have done. No. To an extent. But I consistently network in a meaningful way, not to get anything in return, but to see what I can give.
Well, it goes back to that statement we're talking about, that you have to pour value into it. No one buys a house every year, or every 3 or 4 years. Maybe there might be one of these people just trades their car in every 3 or 4 years or whatever.
Unless you represent an investor or a builder, that's something different.
Yeah, they're buying they're only going to buy a handful of houses in their lifetime, if that. Type of thing. So you have to constantly be pouring into them, but they're running into people that you may not be running into, and that sort of thing. You have a group of ladies that you're leading.
Yes.
How when you've got those, you're mentoring them. You're especially some of the newer agents that you're trying to bring up to your ideology or the way you do business. How do you express to them, or I guess encourage them, because not everybody's so outwardly just friendly. They'll hand out their business card to anyone. A lot of people are shy, I guess, if you want to call it that. How do you warm them up that your business, real estate is actually a 24/7 business.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're at, you are a real estate agent to everyone around you.
That's a good question.
And it's a topic that people do like to talk about. It's a very neutral topic. Anyone could talk what's going on, in real estate right now, or what new communities going up, or that sort of thing. How do you bring that newer agent on to understand and bring that kind of I'm going to say attitude to their business, that they have to pour value, because whether that person calls you next month, or that it's 4 or 5 years from now they call you or refer you somebody, let alone, you have to just keep pouring into all buckets.
So how I help my team to remain engaged and consistent, And one of the things that I didn't get a chance to share with consistency is the last thing is you also have to follow the processes. You have to create processes and systems to help you stay on track.
Good.
So one of the things that I help my team to do is I help them to understand who they are as an agent, understand what their agent persona is. Who are you representing? Who do people see you as? Okay, that's number one. Who are you attracting? And then I help them to identify who their client persona is. What's your niche? Do you have a niche? What do you want your niche to be? Who do you want to attract? Who do you want to help? Right? What's your demographic? And once they find that out, once they've done that research and that legwork, okay, how do you market to those people? What appeals to your demographic, to your client? Are you doing those things? You did. When did you do it? How often did you do it? Did it work? What didn't work? Taking them through those step-by-step processes. Mentoring is one thing. Coaching is another. Training is something else.
Yeah.
So I mentor, coach, and train based on what they need and where they are. Also, I remind them that at the end of your emotions is nothing. Let's remove the emotion. Let's stick with the facts. What are we doing? This is still a business. This is your business. How successful do you want to be? Okay. It's the age-old process of if you need to have close one client this month, that means that you need to talk to 10 people a week in order to, So we have a whole equation as to what you need to do and how you need to do it and how often you need to do it so that you can remain consistent, right? And we plug that into technology, right? Don't just keep it in your head or write it down. Use your technology. Tell your website, tell your resources that we provide you what you need. Okay, if you need your website to send this out, tell your AI embedded website, okay, reach out to these leads, tell them this, give them if then situations,
right?
So that you can go out and network in an organic way. You don't have to worry about doing all of the admin functions. Let technology work for you so that you can remain consistent on that level, but still provide that human touch. Get out, meet people, learn who people are, and be visible.
What do you think? Right now we see the stat came out. 70-something% of the agents last year didn't even do a transaction.
Oh wow!
And I have seen, just because I'm always looking. Who's the top producers in the area? Who's making things happen? And I'm looking at numbers. And obviously 2021. I mean, as soon as you stuck the sign in the yard, people were calling, or I had Willie Lane on the other day. You could put a Post-it note on the door saying the house is for sale, and people were making offers. Now it's a different, it's a different market altogether. A lot of people are sitting on listings and trying to push them out. But I've seen some agents who were doing good are actually better. Some agents who are doing good have actually declined and are really struggling right now.
Yes.
What do you think might be the difference?
Well, the difference would be probably a few things. One, mindset. Okay. Are you stuck in your mind? Okay. It happened to you. What can you do to make something happen for you?
Right.
So that's the difference. That's the gap. Mindset is big, especially when you go from an up market to a stable to a kind of shaky market. Also, education. Plug in. Go to NEFAR or go online. You do something. Go to your broker. Let them know you're struggling and what areas you're struggling in, and it's up to the agent to seek that advice, get that education, and use the resources. Also, don't go at it alone. I've over my past year's experience, I found myself in a silo, especially in a down market, because you're just trying to figure out what works. And when you're alone and you're struggling, you just get deeper and deeper in the pit. Get out of that pit. Talk to somebody. Even if you can't afford to, because let's just be honest, if you're not closing, you probably can't afford to go and sit down for coffee or lunch. Have a virtual coffee. Meet somebody for free. Do those free things, right?
There's loan officers all over to take you out to coffee.
Right. All the time.
All the time.
Do it once a week at least, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, do those things. Plug in. And it's that human touch that people are missing sometimes. You're not in a silo. You're not alone. Ask for, get that help.
Yeah. Well, my partner here, Tom, I mean, we've started doing some collaborative lunches, bringing in some top producers and and everyone's exchanging, kind of their ill wills. But then what I quickly learned with because these are all people, a lot of people have had on the show because they're producing. And what I quickly realized, they're going, hey, yeah, I've got a bunch of listings, and they're being Debbie Downer. They're like, okay, how can we, turn this around?
Absolutely.
What are we doing in a positive way?
Yes.
Oh, this worked for me, and I was able to turn this house. Hey, we spent a little extra money on some staging. We painted it, because I think a lot of people like turnkey houses right now. They're not into the majority are not into looking for fixer uppers. They want turnkey. What are some of those little extra things? Maybe you've got to pour a little bit of your sweat, maybe some of your financial resources into helping that buyer make that home a little better than the next one, and that's the one that's going to sell right now.
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that, because who you surround yourself with, it definitely has an impact on your mindset and your outlook, right? So let's say if you're an agent right now that might be struggling, not doing as well as a top producer, get around those top producers. If their cup is running over, it's going to spill over on you. Even if it's something that you can't do tangibly, maybe they'll be able to give you some type of idea or creative way to do a workaround, so that money won't have to come out of your pocket. But it's a solution still, right?
Well, I think everything circles back to that whole thing of adding value to others. And sometimes you have to add value to yourself.
That's right.
And if you are struggling and you're like, well, what do I do? I've made all these, I'm making my phone calls, I'm making my touches, but nothing's happening. To reach out to maybe that top producer. Maybe they're doing an open house. Maybe they're going over to this neighborhood and they're helping their seller get it ready. Go over with them.
Yes.
Then next thing you know, Murphy's Law, somebody in that neighborhood calls you, and you're like, oh yeah, I was helping my teammate over here with the house down the street. And now you're coming across with someone of confidence. You might earn the business.
Absolutely.
Because you know the neighborhood.
You know the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had someone literally, and I put this on my team, our group chat, and I said, someone just called me, and I've had this all this week on one of our new listings, and asked, can I do an open house from a totally different brokerage? I said, that person is hungry. That's the market we're in right now.
Yeah.
Really. And it's not uncommon for that to happen, but in the up market, you don't really see that, right? So these are the days where you do the things that are necessary. And you have to have that faith in yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to have that confidence in yourself to say, you know what, I can do this. I'm good enough to do this. And if I'm not, let me go and plug into this free Need for Our Education class. And it's virtual. I don't even have to go anywhere. I can just be on screen and learn some things so that I can, get better.
A couple extra tidbits. I mean, if I was on the real estate agent side and I say, you should be doing open houses, especially if you're trying to grow your business. There's some people, they're sitting on a dozen listings, and they've got a team and newer agents that want to be active and want to jump in there. That's all cool.
Yes.
Murphy's Law is if you bring your laptop and say, you know what, I don't expect this open house to be busy. I'm going to flip open my laptop and take one of these online courses that are just there at the click of a button. And I guarantee you, as soon as you hit the click, somebody's going to walk.
And it's going to be an interested buyer.
Yeah. You're going to end up having a meaningful conversation with them.
That's right.
For whatever a period of time. And hopefully it leads into either them buying, or they know someone who's going to buy. I'm really big, and I think you'll agree with this. You never know what's under the next rock overturn.
That's right.
And you've got to have that conversation, because you don't know if that person's going to buy, or they're going to be at a barbecue this weekend, and they're going to be talking to someone. Said, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a home, and they're going to go, call Dana. I was just talking to her the other day.
And it was something about her.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't need her, but you know what? I think you should call. I think you guys would be great together. And it also offers you that agent the ability to sharpen their swords, right? If you're not in front of people, in front of buyers, get in those spaces where you're having to talk to people and test out your how you do off the dome and how quick you are to respond. And if you don't talk to anybody, if you're not in those networking situations where people are asking you those questions, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
So go out, and talk to people. I don't know how agents just think that they can't network in any type of way, even if it's in your spirit.
And it doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be a BNI. Obviously, we know a lot of people are involved in their church. It could be things. Obviously, at NEFAR, you're hobnobbing around a bunch of other real estate agents, but a lot of the agents who are involved in NEFAR are influential people. They've been either doing it a long time or they're doing business, and they feel it's important to impact real estate in Northeast Florida, so they're involved. And so you're collaborating and being one of those five people in the room.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then you can even go to functions where there are no realtors, and guess what? You're the expert.
Yep.
Right. And so I say,
well, it's the thing. Wear your name tag, right?
Wear your name tag.
All you have to do is wear your name tag. They will ask you the question.
I have a hat that I got. I made an RPAC contribution. I'm shameless plug. I did my RPAC contribution, and in return, I was able to get an item, right? And that item was my realtor hat with bling on it. So I put that on when I'm in the grocery store. I forget I have it on,
right?
And it's pink. So what woman isn't going to stop you with some pink bling? And
Exactly.
Oh, you're a realtor.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a conversation.
Pull out your card.
Yeah. You own a house. You should. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be hard. You can make it fun.
It's really just thinking of some of those really simple. I call it KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
That's really, and wearing the hat is a really simple, stupid thing.
Forget. Yeah.
But you're wearing a billboard on your head, and people. If you're wearing your name tag, and how many? I don't know how many agents have told us. You've heard stories. They're in the grocery store. They forget they have the name tag on, and someone starts talking to them, and then it's easy because your name is right there, and they go, oh, hey, Dana. So you're a real estate agent. I'm so and so. They can introduce themselves because they have your name. Where sometimes people are a little shy in doing that exchange. The fact that you're wearing your name on there, you're giving it to them, which is the most important thing because you're hoping they call you, or they can go on social media and look you up if they really wanted to do it stealthy. But some of the things, just Erica Harding wearing something real estate when she's sitting at the ball field with her kids, and then the other parents are seeing her there every day at the ball field. Eventually, the ice is broken, or they know. Yeah,
absolutely. I have one of my top producers. She does it all the time. She is her brand ambassador. She has her hat, Danielle Sutton. She has her hat on. She has her face on it. She has her shirt on. She has signs on the side of her. Everything. She's branded. She believes in herself.
Yeah.
And when people see that you believe in yourself because you are advertising what you do and who you are, there's a level of confidence that comes with that, right? And they figure that's unconsciously you telling people, I'm confident in who I am and what I do, and you should be too.
Yeah.
So you're giving people permission to approach you.
Yeah.
And let down those walls and ask you questions. And if they ask you a question you don't know, well, you know what? That's a good question. Can we talk about overcropping or whatever? You don't have to say you don't know, but that's
well, you just by putting out by wearing that I'm a real estate agent somewhere, whether it's a name tag, a T-shirt, a hat,
something.
You're breaking the ice already, so it's easy for them to come up to you where they may be bashful. Yeah, they can be. Oh, I see you're a real estate agent. Whatever they get, whatever question it has, it just opens that door, because one, real estate's easy to talk about, whatever it may be, and it's an easy flow back and forth. I mean, it's just so if you're bashful about it but you want people to know, I agree with you. I see some of these agents with their signs on the door, but sometimes it looks a little corny, but you know what? They're basically saying they're there to help you.
Yes.
That's when you were saying magnet. I was like, they're saying on the side of their door, "I'm here to help you with your real estate needs.
Absolutely.
Ask me. This is why I'm telling you I'm a real estate agent."
Absolutely. Yeah. Marketing is key. Consistent marketing, and whatever that looks like, and branding.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say if you're one of those shy agents, and you're like, "I'm not doing that," right? Find a way. Social media, right? That's the way. Most people, we know that 90% of buyers go online, and they've already figured it out before they've even met you. Be the person that they see and that they want to work with. You can do that with social media, the marketing. Do that consistently. Put some plans, systems, and processes in place to be successful. It's really not hard.
What is your Instagram seems to be very popular. Obviously, Facebook's always a kind of a cornerstone. It's there. Of course, obviously, Facebook and Instagram are related. So if you post on Instagram, it'll post it on Facebook if you tell it to. Type of thing. What are some of your methods to do? Are you some people just that's all they post is pictures of houses on there. So when you don't even see a person, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah. I like to see people's faces.
Yeah.
But what has worked for you in as far as social media? If you're talking to your team, how you do it? Because I think everyone everyone's different anyway, and what works for them is going to be probably slightly different than the person next to them. But what is your attitude, your ideology on that?
What works for me personally, not my company, but me as an individual contributor. What works for me individually is showing people my vulnerability and my authenticity. I'm a perfectionist. Well, no, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm 12-step program, and usually I suffer from analysis paralysis when I'm posting. I want it to look perfect. It's gotta hit this person, this metric, and I'm analyzing what it did. Like if I post online, my mediums are Facebook, LinkedIn, not so much as Instagram, but definitely Facebook and LinkedIn, and here recently YouTube. So I'm trying to make sure that the lighting is right, everything is perfect, but I started noticing a trend about 4 years ago. When it's perfect, nobody really looks at it. It's not a lot of engagement. They're like, "Oh, that was nice," but it's when I jump on there and I'm like, "Hey, you guys," and it wind's blowing, hair's frazzled, and I'm giving those authentic moments and those vulnerable moments. People relate to that, and that's what works for me as an individual contributor. Just getting on there and saying, it's not going to be perfect, but I got to get this info to whoever needs it, and this is why they need it. Mm-hmm. Get out of your head. Stop being selfish. You're not perfect.
Right.
Just give people what they need, and whoever needs it, they'll find their way back to you.
Do you just maybe a topic or a situation comes up in a transaction, and you're like, others need to know about this, so
yes.
you jump on. You see that valuable sharing?
I have to do it immediately, because if I wait and try to produce it,
you start thinking too much about it.
Yeah, it loses the impact and the value, because now it's a production. So immediately, as soon as I see something that can be valuable, or I just post it, and it's authentic and it resonates with people.
Yeah.
People can see the authenticity in it. So for me, being authentically who I am is what works for me by way of marketing.
That's awesome. Now, are you mixing in your family stuff or anything like that? You kind of
used to all the time, but as my boys got older, I think they got a little weirded out. Like, everybody knows you.
Right.
They're like, "You're Dana's son." So I try to try not to involve them too much
overly
over
do
time.
it. Yeah.
Sometimes I can't help it. They're so cute. I love my kids. 4 of them. But I will show people like my personal side. But I make sure that I brand and market and let them know, yes, I'm going to church, and after church, I'm going to stop by this open house. Sorry, Lord, but right. But that's who we are as professionals. I show people the authentic side.
You're using your abilities and talent,
Absolutely.
Influence to, he's got everybody on a different, they're different journeys, and your journey is to, after church, you need to stop by that open house, because you might learn something, you might meet somebody, you might, you're going to have an impact in some way, shape, or form on what he's created, right?
Absolutely.
That's definitely how I would see that. I think if I recall, was it you liked the boutique brokerages? Did I read that? Was that your bio I was reading?
Yes.
Tell me why, and then what led to the creation of Province?
Oh my gosh! So it's out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was an agent at a larger brokerage, and I loved that brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
Did not want to leave, but I found myself in a divorce situation, and I needed to make some changes because of my split. And I researched some different brokerages, larger brokerages, and didn't really fit my brand and my style. And I said, I'm gonna have to create this. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me about a year, and I worked on it, and I created the brand, the brokerage, and I made sure that it had the foundation that it needed. That was in 2015, 10 years ago.
Wow.
So I said, I'm going to try it out of necessity. And it went from a need to now. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever done so far as business is concerned.
Well, I would imagine, you mentioned earlier about systems and processes.
Yes.
When you want to go out and do your own brokerage and you want people to follow you, you better have your systems.
You gotta have systems and processes, technology, all of that. And in the beginning, just starting out, technology can be expensive on your own as a boutique brokerage, as a single broker, not being backed by a larger brand. So being able to be competitive with the larger brands and stay on task with the trainings and everything, I made sure that I did not have a large team and bring a lot of people on, because what I did not want to do is do anybody a disservice by saying, oh yeah, we're amazing, and then you got here and now you're floundering, right? So it took some time to establish the systems and processes and back it with technology to make sure that, okay, this not only works for me because I'm techie, this can work for if a person who's techie or a person who has no idea of how to work technology and embed technology in their business.
Right.
Or employ systems and processes. Just make it simple.
Yeah, because it can be
overwhelming.
Not only expensive but overwhelming, time consuming, and then which takes you away from the money making activities.
Absolutely.
Are you actively recruiting right now, or you like to keep the team, the tight knit? I don't know how many agents you got right now.
So it's 7. Yes, I like to keep the tight knit, smaller, quality driven agent. And we're not hiring right now in Jacksonville, but in our Atlanta office we are, and we'll be opening another site in Melbourne in October.
So are you traveling there, or are you're helping others, entrepreneurial minded women like yourself to obviously start under with your brand in these areas?
Absolutely.
So you're not having to be the resource.
Actually, yes, I do.
Other than running the brokerage, I guess I would say. From the real estate side, there's running the brokerage, and then there's training and mentoring and getting people up to a sales ability, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think is and I'm going to lead into what I want to say next, either way with that question, whether you said yes or no, you were recruiting or not recruiting. But if you were talking to new agents, I imagine you're down at NEFAR, you're running into them down there too, because a lot of them are going to the classes and so forth. But just from your experience, what are some tips if someone wanted to get into business today? What are some of the things, some of the people they might want to talk to before actually entering, just to make sure? And then the brokerage choice, how do they narrow down to what brokerage? Because I personally feel, and talking to over 250, 60 agents, their choice of brokerage could make or break you.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have the grit to fight through a bad decision, you're out of the business.
You're out of it.
Yeah. So what are some advice that you would give someone maybe entering the business right now?
So the best advice I can give someone entering the business is do your research. Number one, of course, your brokerage is going to really dictate and the culture of that brokerage is going to dictate your success early on because you don't know what you don't know, right? So you have to do the research, the questions that they should be asking. It's so many different. They can go on ChatGPT. They can say, "Hey, what questions should I ask the brokerage?" I'm not going to put them all out here right now.
Right. No, you're 100% right.
Yeah,
That'll give them a baseline.
Yes, and I would even venture to say, kind of steer clear from having those interviews with your broker online. That first interview, I would encourage them to have a one-on-one, not a telephone conversation, not a Zoom meeting, but what's that energy like? You'll be able to assist the energy, see if it's, synergy that you're sensing and picking up. Also, how would you fit in with the culture? What does the office look like? What does it feel like? Is this something that you're wanting? What are they expecting from you? What are the upfront expectations? Because as you're interviewing them, they're probably going to be interviewing you as well, right? So that's number one. Number two, they should definitely look into, if they're techie, the tech package. What are you offering me? How much does it cost? What's my upfront investment? At the end of the day, okay, I know that you said my split is going to be this, but what are the other fees involved? If I close this deal and I make this amount, how much am I walking away with, right? That is a big one, especially with new agents sometimes. The third thing is, I think that agents get in their mind that, oh, I need to go to a broker that's going to give me leads. What are you going to do with those leads when you get them? Do you know what to do with them? Have a plan in place. What's your education? What are you going to do for yourself to make yourself successful? And don't look at reality TV shows concerning realtors. That's number 4. Don't do it, because although there is some truth to it, it's probably not going to be their path immediately. Right. Make sure that they have a solid plan.
Are there a couple things that if you're talking to a broker, a couple things you should be tuning in to see if they're actually bringing up when they're talking about their brokerage? Because you said you used the term culture.
Yes.
And the thought that went through my head is, if I was a broker today and I'm recruiting a brand new agent, just took the test or about to take the test or whatever, I'm already saying, hey, what I want to do is I want to stand, because I've got a couple of senior agents I want to attach you to mentor, for you to shadow, whatever terminology you want to do. Because I think a lot of agents are walking into some of these brands that are known for bringing up newer agents and hiring in mass. They have some classroom trainings, but are they talking about, how am I going to hook you up with this top producer? I want you to mentor under them for the next 30, 60, 90 days, or whatever, help them with their open houses, because they're really going to give you the, as I call, the rubber meets the road life of real estate. Yes. Are they talking about that? And because to me, if I was a broker and I was trying to recruit you as a new agent, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna introduce you to Sally. She's been in the business 10 years. She's one of our top producers. I think the two of you would get along, and I think just follow her for 30, 60, 90 days to really expand your horizons of this business.
That definitely listen to what's being offered. A lot of times it's already in a package in writing, but it's the questions that follow it. Okay, so yes, you're going to hook me up with these people, and these are the expectations, but what does it look like? What does that look like really? Is that top producer going to have time to meet with me? Is there going to be a cost associated with this? What are the time frames in which we're going to be meeting? How much time? Just asking those intellectual questions so that they'll understand what is being offered. And as a broker, I would say when a new agent is going to interview a broker, most people just do that interview once. I'm so confused by that one interview, because most companies interview you at least twice, right? Before they say yes. Yeah. So I would say go back. once you get your research done and you understand, you can compare. Go back to the brokerage that you said, you know what, I think it's going to be where I want to land, but let me make sure. Let me ask those tough questions, right? Ask some tough questions, whatever they may be.
I would bet if we took a survey of every real estate agent that's in the last 2 years, it's been brand new, that has gone through these interviews, ask them how many actually interviewed or really sat down, not just in a passing way, but really sat down, had a cup of coffee, lunch, or whatever, with an agent from that brokerage.
Absolutely.
And actually ask those detailed questions, because the broker, as a lot of people say in interviews, to get two people lying to each other.
Yeah.
I won't necessarily say they're lying to each other, but there might be some things they're not telling you, or I think there's a lot of generalized terms, whether it's in real estate or whatever. Like, oh yeah, we got this fancy tech stack. Okay, well great. Show me how I would actually use it, and then I'll tell you if it's simple or not. And I think that's again, you've really got to put it in action. And I think interviewing the real estate agents there, or a couple of them, that how actually are they using the tools at the brokerage?
Successful. Yeah, a lot of times the agents do that before they even make their way to the brokers. It's because they've already talked to the agents and in the field and say, hey, who are you? You're successful. Who are you under? What are you experiencing, right? So a lot of times that's done up front.
Yeah.
They're having those conversations with other agents up front.
Right.
Yeah.
I had another question. I lost it.
Well, you did ask, was I recruiting? It's a difference between recruiting and hiring. I am recruiting. I'm not hiring. It's a difference.
You're looking for someone that's got a little miles on it, the experience.
Well, we have specific. We have what I call agent personas, and if we're top heavy with listing agents, we don't have enough buyers agents. If we're top heavy with first time home buyers, we don't have enough luxury representation, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking for specific niches and specific skill sets. So I'm recruiting.
You're selectively hiring. I understand that. No, I think a large brokerage, we can name the big box brokerages. They can bring in a bad apple, not a big deal because they got so many. When you're 6 or 7 agents, you don't want someone to come in and change your dynamics. And then and then how do you pour into them? Or maybe you have an overflow of leads that are coming to you in this certain area. Maybe it's first time home buyers because they may or may not need a little bit more hand holding. So you need someone who actually can do that, because you don't have the time, because you're the leader and you've got all these people to be involved in. I think every small boutique brokerage should be very selective on who they bring in, especially one now you have 10 years.
Yes.
So it's not like you just started last year. This has been going on. Anything you'd like to add?
I would like to add that I appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform and to talk about the industry in which I love, and be able to bring value to not just people in the community, but to the agents. I would like to say to any agent that is new or anyone who's looking to get into the industry, definitely, if this is your passion, if helping people is something that you love to do by way of closing that wealth gap for them and just introducing them to their next home, try it. But before you try it, make sure you do research, make sure you are passionate about it, and make sure that you have a good plan in place to get educated. You can make sure that if you want to plug in, always reach out. You can reach out to myself or utilize your resources with NEFAR or any other association that is reputable. You and your team, I've done a deal or two with your team, and plug into the people who are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And not just for real estate professionals, but for our industry people coming in, our customers, our clients as well, because it's a lot of scams going on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing out there. So you want to make sure that you're linking up with the right people, and that has the right resources and the right heart.
It's a thought that I've had for a long time, actually, where I think NEFAR could come in. We have a bunch of real estate schools locally that are training people up to pass the test, and then even doing, post licensing, continuing ed, because obviously you can get that at NEFAR as well. But to really collaborate, because I think a lot of those schools are actually, those people are involved at NEFAR at some level anyway, because they're just passionate about the business, and they like sharing and teaching it,
Yes.
what needs to be done. But where NEFAR on a monthly, bi-monthly basis should be saying, hey, to these schools where people are already committed, so they don't feel someone's stealing their student, to bring those new agents in, because a lot of them haven't actually chosen a brokerage yet, and actually just give a forum where that you have 4 or 5 some top agents, some top brokers who are not there to sell they're not wearing their jersey. They are just there to answer the questions, because I really feel one of the biggest things why 80% of the agents never, don't renew in first years, and we don't know whether they lose it in the first month, or did they go a year? How long did they stay in the business and they just didn't renew, and 80% are out so quickly, that if we actually had an open forum where they can ask any questions without feel they're being sold to, or we like the word lied, because everyone, you do have that.
NEFAR has an open house every month, and it's new.
Oh.
And now it is.
Maybe they've been listening to my show.
Yeah. Maybe it's not where brokerages go in and tell new agents about, okay, these are the offerings, or people who want to be in the industry or are new to the industry. Just
I was thinking more of a tell me about the business. What is it like to be a real estate agent?
Open house.
Yeah. What are my other fees?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have an open house where they can learn about the association, and there are industry professionals there that are ready to answer questions, not recruit, because you can't recruit anymore.
Yeah.
But we do have industry professionals that have been in the industry for years, vetted professionals at these posts and ready
to answer questions,
able and capable to answer any questions that new agents or prospective, new agents have.
Yeah.
So it's an open house that's done every month, and it is on the calendar at NEFAR.
Need to put that out there more
Yes.
often. I think it needs.
It needs to be promoted.
I think it needs to be promoted, and I would encourage everyone who's at these little schools, because I've helped Amanda Hauser in her school, and it's a lot of times she's only got half a dozen people in there. There's no reason why they can't make an evening and come down, or is this done online or actually at NEFAR?
It's in person.
Which
it's
is
in the
better,
house.
because they get to be introduced to say, here, this is where NEFAR is at,
Yes.
and this is what we do here, and NEFAR gets to pitch what
Absolutely.
what they're doing, because it's the local association